she left him broke. He became a billionaire. Then she showed up. The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse office as Marcus Chen stood with his hands in his pockets, surveying the city below. 42 floors up, the world looked small, manageable, controllable. Nothing like the cramped studio apartment where he'd once sat alone, holding a goodbye note and wondering where everything had gone wrong. That was 5 years ago. A lifetime ago. His assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. "Mr. Chen, there's someone here without an appointment. She's insistent. Says her name is Victoria Morrison." Marcus's reflection in the glass went still. Morrison. Her maiden name, the name she'd abandoned along with him when she'd moved into Richard Hartwell's mansion. "Send her in," he said quietly. When the door opened, Marcus didn't turn around immediately. He let her stand there, let her take in the Italian marble floors, the original artwork, the custom furniture that cost more than the annual rent of their old apartment. Let her see what her poor boyfriend had become. "Hello, Marcus." Her voice was the same, soft, melodic, but something in it had changed. The confidence was gone, replaced by something fragile. He turned slowly. Victoria stood near the door as if afraid to come closer. She was still beautiful, perhaps more so than he remembered, but the designer clothes looked a season old, and there was a weariness in her eyes that makeup couldn't hide. "Victoria." He didn't smile. "This is unexpected." She clutched her purse like a lifeline. "I wasn't sure you'd see me. I almost didn't." Marcus gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Sit." She did, perching on the edge as if ready to flee. Marcus took his time walking to his own chair, letting the silence stretch between them like the years that had passed. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "I need your help." The words came out barely above a whisper. "I need a job." The irony hit him like a physical blow. Marcus leaned back, studying her face. "A job? You want me, the man you left because he was chasing pipe dreams, to give you a job?" She flinched. "I know how this sounds. Do you?" Marcus's voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath it. "Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like the woman who told me I'd never amount to anything is now asking me for employment." "I was cruel," Victoria said, and tears began to well in her eyes. "I was young and stupid, and so convinced that security meant everything. So you left me for Richard Hartwell, the investment banker with the family money and the right connections." Marcus picked up a pen, turning it over in his fingers. "How did that work out for you?" Victoria's composure cracked. "He's in prison, 15 years for securities, fraud, and money laundering. The FBI seized everything, the houses, the cars, the bank accounts. I spent over a year in court just proving I wasn't complicit." She wiped her eyes with shaking hands. "I lost everything, Marcus. My reputation, my friends, my sense of who I was. And the worst part is, I realized 6 months after I left you that I'd made the biggest mistake of my life." 6 months? Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Not when he was arrested? Not when the money disappeared? No." Victoria met his eyes. 6 months in, I woke up in that big, empty mansion and realized I was completely alone. Richard was already at work. We barely spoke. Our entire relationship was transactional. I was his beautiful accessory. He was my meal ticket. There was no love, no real connection. Nothing like what we had. Marcus said nothing, his expression unreadable. "I know I don't deserve your help," Victoria continued. "I've applied to over 200 jobs in the past 6 months. No one will hire me. The scandal follows me everywhere. I'm 3 months behind on rent for a studio in Queens. I'm living on maxed-out credit cards. I've sold everything of value I had left." She took a shaky breath. "You're my last hope, Marcus. I'm not asking for a handout. I'll work, any position, any salary. I just need someone to give me a chance." Marcus stood and walked to the window. Below, the city pulsed with life, with people fighting their own battles. He remembered being down there, struggling, working 18-hour days in that cramped apartment while Victoria slept peacefully in Hartwell's penthouse. "Do you remember the last conversation we had?" he asked. "When I called you after finding your note?" "Yes," Victoria whispered. "You laughed." "When I said I loved you, you actually laughed." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You said I was a boy playing at business while Richard was a real man with real success." I'm sorry, Victoria sobbed. I'm so sorry. I've regretted those words every day since. Marcus turned to face her. Why should I trust you? You walked away when things were uncertain. How do I know you won't do the same to this company if something better comes along? You don't know, Victoria said honestly. All I can tell you is that I'm not that person anymore. I've learned what happens when you build your life on shallow foundations. I've learned that character matters more than credentials, that loyalty is worth more than opportunity. She stood, meeting his gaze. But words are cheap. The only way I can prove it is through action, if you give me the chance. Marcus walked to his desk and pulled out a business card. He wrote a name and extension on the back. Call this number Monday morning. My cousin Sarah runs HR. Tell her I sent you for the public relations position. It's entry-level, handling media inquiries, drafting press releases, managing social media. The pay is decent, but not extraordinary. You'll be working long hours under a demanding department head. Victoria stared at the card as if it were made of gold. Thank you, Marcus. You don't know what this... There are conditions, Marcus interrupted. You'll be treated exactly like every other employee, no special treatment because of our history. In fact, I'll probably be harder on you to avoid any appearance of favoritism. And if you don't perform, you're out. No second chances. I understand. One more thing. Marcus's eyes hardened. This is business. Nothing more. I'm not your boyfriend anymore, and I'm not interested in revisiting the past. Whatever we had died 5 years ago when you walked out that door. The hope in Victoria's eyes dimmed slightly, but she nodded. I understand. I'm not asking for anything more than a professional opportunity. Good. Marcus opened his office door. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Don't be late. Victoria clutched the card to her chest. At the threshold, she paused. For what it's worth, I never stopped thinking about you, about us, about what I threw away. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but seeing what you've become, what you've achieved, I'm proud of you, Marcus, even if I have no right to be. Then she was gone. Marcus stood alone in his office, the ghost of old feelings swirling around him. He'd imagined this moment countless times. Victoria coming back, realizing her mistake, seeing his success. In those fantasies he'd felt vindicated, triumphant. But now all he felt was tired. He returned to the window. The rain was letting up, sunlight breaking through the clouds. Somewhere in those streets below, Victoria was probably crying with relief, clutching that business card like a lifeline. Had he done the right thing? Or had he just opened a door to the past that should have stayed closed? His phone buzzed with his next meeting reminder. Marcus took a deep breath and straightened his tie. The past was the past. This was business. Nothing more. 3 months later, Marcus sat in his office reviewing Victoria's 90-day evaluation. Sarah's assessment was glowing, exceeds expectations in all categories. Exceptional work ethic, creative problem-solving, excellent team collaboration. Recommend permanent position and consideration for advancement. He'd been monitoring her progress from a distance. She arrived early, stayed late, volunteered for difficult projects. Her media campaigns were innovative and effective. The team respected her. She'd proven herself. Marcus signed the paperwork making her position permanent and filed it away. But as he tried to return to work, he found himself distracted. He'd seen her in the halls a few times, always professional, always keeping her distance. Once their eyes had met across the cafeteria. She'd given him a small, grateful smile before looking away. There was a knock at his door. Come in. Victoria entered, looking nervous. Sarah said you wanted to see me? Your evaluation was excellent, Marcus said. Congratulations on the permanent position. Thank you. This opportunity means everything to me. An awkward silence fell. Victoria shifted her weight. Marcus, I know you said this was strictly business, but I wanted to thank you properly. You gave me a second chance when no one else would. You saved my life. You saved your own life, Marcus replied. I just gave you an opportunity. You're the one who made the most of it. Still. Victoria met his eyes. I'll never forget what you did, and I'll never stop being sorry for what I did to you. Marcus studied her, really looked at her. For the first time since she'd walked back into his life. The superficiality that had once clung to her was gone, burned away by hardship. In its place was something deeper, something real. "Victoria," he said slowly, "would you like to get coffee sometime? Not as employer and employee, just as two people who used to know each other." Hope blossomed on her face. "I'd like that very much." "It doesn't mean anything," Marcus added quickly. "I'm not making any promises." "I know," Victoria said softly. "But maybe someday we could find out who we've become. Not who we were, but who we are now." As she left, Marcus turned back to his window. The sun was setting, painting the city in shades of gold. 5 years ago, he'd sat in a dark apartment, heartbroken and lost. Now he stood at the top of the world, successful beyond his wildest dreams. But success, he was learning, was complicated. So was forgiveness, so was the question of whether second chances applied not just to careers but to hearts. Only time would tell. But for the first time in 5 years, Marcus found himself willing to find out. The past, it seemed, wasn't quite as dead as he'd thought. And maybe, just maybe, that wasn't entirely a bad thing.